Hi, this is Jim Goodman, and I want to welcome you to 10 Wheel Adventures. This week, Belinda and I traveled with our granddaughter, Brianne Rush, to Yellowstone National Park. We were just amazed at the amount of wildlife that we were able to get up close to, most of it just from our car. Now, this elk was sitting beside the road, and it's a bull. He still hasn't shed the fur on his antlers yet, but you can see he's very comfortable with us sitting there. We would see female and young ones all over the place. Buffalo everywhere. A lot of individual buffaloes, and we thought that was pretty fantastic. But we saw this huge traffic jam, and we wondered what was going on. Of course, we're in line, so we pull up. Well, here's a herd, and it's a huge herd of buffalo crossing the Yellowstone River. Tons of calves. Very, very exciting to watch this happen, this river crossing. And then they start heading towards our vehicle. And sure enough, most of them crossed the road, just one vehicle ahead of ours. And so they came very close as they were walking down the road, heading to the other side. You can see here there's a lot of mothers with their young calves. And in a moment you'll see more of the adolescents as they come through as well. They were bucking and butting each other. It was very interesting to watch. We were so excited. You can see in the upper portion of the video the main part of the herd now coming through. And again, this was a big herd. I would estimate probably at 150 plus or minus head. It just kept coming and coming. While we were watching all this, we got very excited. We heard the guy in front of us yell, "Oh, look, look." I wasn't able to get the video camera around, but we were able to get some 35 stills. And sure enough, we saw this female with her calf crossing the river by themselves. We wondered what was going on, and then we saw it. This white or tan colored wolf sitting on the shore just watching them cross. So he had run them down there. Well, then we saw that there was a black wolf, and in fact turned out to be two black wolves. There were a couple young male buffalo left, so the wolf didn't mess with them. They kind of left them alone. And then we found Yellowstone Lake. It's huge, and it's surrounded on all sides by these mountains with snow-capped peaks. Beautiful, clear, still water. It was just a really peaceful, tranquil setting. And just up the road a ways, we saw the Canadian geese. There were hundreds of them around there, but these three were particularly entertaining with their feeding process, dipping their head in the water. While looking at one of the geothermal features, we saw this mother deer with these two little Bambis running behind them. It was really, really cute. And then we saw these pronghorn antelope. They're all over the place as well. But very seldom do you see the small ones, and we were fortunate enough to get on 35 millimeter the two little babies, and they would hump and prance around. I couldn't get close enough to them with the movie camera to get it. This male was so majestic looking. And bear sightings, we got to see 5 different bears, all black bears, as we traveled through. It's very interesting. These are my two photographic assistants. Bree and Belinda both shot with the 35 millimeter cameras. Here's a female elk with her calf. And a little close-up shot there. Very cute. And of course that male elk again. We got a picture. This is a marmot, and we see them all over the place, but very seldom do you get this close. And we were able to get up pretty close to this little guy. They're about the size of a house cat. This is a ground squirrel. They dig burrows in the ground. And of course the bison, like I said, are everywhere. Some are just huge. And you'll find them in singles, groups of 5 or 6, and then the huge herds. Of course we had to take a stop at Old Faithful. And it was very exciting, I'll say, watching this thing shoot up into the air hundreds of feet. Really entertaining and quite beautiful, majestic. There were several geothermal features in the park. Wasn't able to get the best shots because a couple of the best ones, Grand Prismatic, was closed. Here's a mud pit that's just hot, liquidy, boiling mud. This is Roaring Mountain, and it didn't really make a lot of noise, but it put out a lot of smoke. Of course, there's the Yellowstone River you'll cross several times as you drive on the park, and it's this huge, fast-flowing river. It was pretty exciting to watch. The waterfalls were quite abundant too. This was one of the better ones. This is Gibbons Falls, and it was pretty exciting to watch. We got the best view from this one on the road. Now, several days we went for hikes, and our favorite was Hell Roaring Trail. I think it was about 4 miles out, 3.5, so the hike in total was about 7-8 miles. Series of switchbacks immediately start off. It's about a 700-foot drop, and on one side you'd have this meadow of beautiful wildflowers, and on the other you'd have a sheer drop, and there was the Yellowstone River. There's a suspension bridge hanging across the river. A lot of fun to get on it. It swings a little bit or bounces. We had fun with Bree on that one. And I would walk over to the edge, saw some of the action just before the bridge. It's a big turn, and I mean, that water is just raging in there, so it's quite exciting to watch. Now, this trail meandered through wooded areas, through prairies, up and down the side of a mountain or two. It was just really great trail, and this is where we saw the marmot, some ground squirrels, chipmunks, some antelope out in the prairie areas. It was pretty cool. We really enjoyed it. I will say this, you always want to carry your bug spray because the mosquitoes are everywhere. But you can see how beautiful this area is and what a great hike it was. Of course, there's streams everywhere, a lot of little waterfalls. Even the drive through there was awesome. So many geological features that just amaze you when you look at it and see them. It was wonderful, wonderful trip. Now, the weather kind of cooperated with us. We had a couple of days of rainy weather, but actually that was our best day. You can see that how beautiful this was to drive through this mist, partly created by the low-hanging clouds, but also by the geological features exhaust gas, as you could smell the sulfur in the air. Now, these are my two photo assistants, and they did a wonderful job. This is on the back side of Mammoth Hot Springs. This water pours down and leaves this deposit. Of course, we crossed the Continental Divide several times, and this is called the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. We stopped here for a picnic and had a blast. Some of the geothermal features were interesting. Not real colorful, but you'd see bubbling water and hot mud surging here and there. And the drive, again, just wonderful. Well, I hope you enjoyed this short visit to Yellowstone. I couldn't put 5 days in 8 minutes, but I did my best to keep it short. Again, thanks for traveling with us, and until we see you again, safe travels.